Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Yang saya hormati Duli yang hormat mulia Raja Muda Perak, Duli yang teramat mulia Raja Puan Besar Perak, Yang Muhammad, Saudara Menteri-Menteri dan Saudari, Yang berbahagia Datuk Azman Mokhtar, Managing Director Khazanah National Berhad, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Biarlah saya cakap sedikit dalam bahasa Melayu. Saya amat terharu tadi apabila diberi peluang untuk mengetahui mesej yang telah disampaikan kepada saya tadi oleh anak-anak muda, the young people, students from universities, tentang aspirasi mereka, tentang harapan mereka, their hopes and their aspirations for the future, the next 50 years. Saya memang terharu mendengar atau boleh membaca tadi di skrin harapan mereka itu. Dan ia juga memberi saya satu perasaan kesyukuran kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. I feel grateful to God, I feel thankful to God. Kerana harapan-harapan mereka itu, aspirasi mereka, their dreams, sebenarnya juga, in other words, putting in other words, their dreams and aspiration is my vision for this land of ours, for Malaysia. Mudah-mudahan mereka semua akan jadi anak-anak muda yang berilmu pengetahuan, yang mempunyai minda kelas pertama, yang mempunyai keluhuran budi yang tinggi dengan kekuatan fizikal, disokong dengan semangat sayang kepada negara dan bangsa, dan dengan kekuatan dan keazaman apabila mereka nanti sudah dewasa dan berperanan sebagai pembuat dasar, having the role of decision makers later on in their adult life, mereka akan dapat juga memberi sumbangan mereka, dan sumbangan mereka itu biarlah yang lebih tinggi nilainya, yang lebih tinggi mutunya. Kerana harapan saya and my hope pada mereka ialah dengan segala kemudahan yang dapat kita berikan pada hari ini untuk mereka, dengan segala-galanya yang telah kita sediakan untuk mereka, and my hope for them is all the preparations we are making for them, with better and better quality opportunities for education that we are giving them. It is my hope they'll have bigger capacity mentally, because of the knowledge that they possess, to make even better contributions for Malaysia, to Malaysia, and to all Malaysians. Harapan saya kalau hari ini kita mencapai kecemerlangan, esok hari di zaman mereka, biarlah hari yang mereka mencapai kegemilangan dan menjadi bangsa yang terbilang. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure for me to be here with you today at this fourth chapter of the Khazanah Global Lecture Series. This initiative has been a treat and a joy for Malaysians, enabling many to hear for the first time the views and experiences of renowned global figures. For this, I believe many Malaysians will join me in thanking Dr. Azman Mokhtar and his team for putting together this certainly wonderful program. I think many have discovered through this program that there is no greater joy than the joy of sharing, the joy of learning. The appreciation for learning is vital in building a society's intellectual capacity. And so I very much hope that Khazanah will continue this effort in the years to come. The Global Lecture Series was conceived in conjunction with the country's 50th year of independence. This conjunction underlines once again the significance of this year of celebration, 50 years of charting our own course in the world, 50 years of immense socio-economic achievement, 50 years of uniting and inheriting 50 years of uniting an inherited college of hopes and dreams into the vibrant tapestry that 26 million people today call their country, their homeland, Malaysia. As we reflect on our hard-won victories, we also continue to move forward. In the year 2007, we saw the launching of 2 new growth corridors, the Northern Corridor Economic Region and the East Coast Economic Region, together with the Iskandar Development Region, launched in 2006. These 3 growth corridors represent a new concerted effort to extend growth and prosperity to all corners of Peninsular Malaysia and to Sabah and Sarawak, and similar plans will be launched in those 2 states. The year 2007 saw the commencement of some major initiatives in high priority areas. The education blueprint and the strategic plan on higher education were announced and rolled out, targeting deficiencies in the current system and working towards implementing long-term improvements. The task force to facilitate business, or Pemuda, was established and is since working hard to reduce the cost of doing business in Malaysia. Civil service salaries were reviewed to encourage retention of talent, and a contract scheme for top civil servants was announced to reward more closely to performance. 2007 saw a new height scale in business. The stock market reached record highs with market capitalization breaking the 1 trillion ringgit mark. International trade of goods and services also exceeded 1 trillion ringgit. Real property gains tax was done away with, driving activity in the property market. And recently, the biggest listed plantation company in the world was created. The year 2007 saw the first ever Malaysian go into space, along with many other achievements. Some people say the year 2007, Pak Allah married again. It was a truly tremendous year for Malaysia, for Malaysians. And so it was only fitting that in 2007 we welcomed to our country 4 individuals who have made a huge impact on the world through the Khazanah Global Lecture Series. We met Kofi Annan, the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Muhammad Yunus, founder of Grameen Bank, and Joseph Stiglitz, renowned economist and author. We also welcomed Jeffrey Sachs, no stranger to Malaysia, but whose visit in the year 2007 was particularly meaningful when he became the first holder of the Royal Professor Engku Aziz Chair and Center for Poverty and Development Studies at University of Malaya. These towering personalities gave us a glimpse of themselves, not as experts or sages, but as human beings who care deeply about the world. They showed us what is possible when there is compassion, when there is intelligence, when there is determination. They showed us what a difference we can make if we believe in our ideas and carry them through. Given their knowledge and experience, it is also gratifying to hear their regard for our country. In speech after speech, Malaysia was held to be a true example of nation-building success, multi-ethnic and peaceful. A remarkable track record in reducing poverty, extensive social mobility, which produced a huge middle class, a thriving open economy. We ourselves are seen as a model with much to offer the world. Repeatedly, we are asked and even urged to impart our knowledge, our experience, so that more people in the developing world may know sustained peace and prosperity. This is not mere beating of the chest and boasting of what we have achieved. Certainly not. Time after time, Malaysia continues to surprise and to inspire those who work actively in socio-economic development and poverty eradication. Following 9/11 incident, this recognition was further reinforced due to Malaysia's Muslim majority. As we draw closer to the end of a truly memorable year, it is worthwhile to consider this question of Malaysia's role in the world going forward, i.e., the question of what next for Malaysia. For the sake of our future, we should press on with the work of carrying out the 5 thrusts of the national mission. We should continue to drive the economy towards higher value sectors and initiatives. We should continue to upgrade our education system. We should continue to reduce inequalities in income and opportunity. We should continue to improve the quality of life, and we should continue to improve the effectiveness and performance of our public institutions, from the civil service to the judiciary. I'm getting the echo. Do you get the echo too? It's okay. From here, I get the echo. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if we stay committed to this cause, and stay we must, we can only grow stronger in the eyes of the world. I believe that if we have something that we think can bring us results, then we must be patient enough, we must be determined enough to stay on the course and to pursue its objective. I believe we would successfully evolve from our middle income status. We should have a dynamic, innovation-driven economy. We should have skilled and capable future generations, and we would have public institutions of strength and integrity. These are the ingredients that we need to make our nation and our country great. However, I think there is something more than we must have, not only to rise in the eyes of the world, but also in the eyes of our people. We should not only think of what the country should do, but what the country should be. A country is not only defined by its achievements, it is also defined by what it stands for. Finding what a country stands for is far more difficult and complex. It takes many years, perhaps hundreds of years, before a country's values are crystallized. The United States has a constitution that is over 200 years old, which promised all citizens a voice, but it was only in the year 1920 when women were granted the vote. It was in 1964 when the right to vote was effectively enforced for African Americans. In the case of a country as young as Malaysia, only 50 years old, the question of what we stand for, the values that connect us to each other, is still being formed. The endeavor to find an answer to this question will go on beyond my lifetime, but I believe that our 50-year history provides us the outlines. As someone blessed by God with the opportunity of becoming Prime Minister, or being in public service for over 4 decades, of serving some of the finest men and women in Malaysia's history, I see 3 values that have dominated our 50 years as a nation. These are the values that will continue to shape our nation as we embark on our next 50 years. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I see the pursuit of fairness, political fairness, economic fairness, cultural fairness. We see political fairness in the practice of power sharing, where all the major races are represented in government via a seat-sharing formula set up by the ruling party. All groups literally have a seat at the table, the cabinet meeting table. Issues and concerns are discussed and addressed, often behind closed doors, to reach consensus, where no one is outvoted by the majority, where the rights of every group are protected and safeguarded. From the outside, there was consensus on having cultural fairness. I likened Malaysia to a tapestry earlier, and I think this image fits with our philosophy of culture. We, each of us, are a thread making a larger design, but look closely enough and you will see that each thread still retains its own qualities, its color even. Integration, not assimilation, is what we pursue. Malaysia is built on the premise that the identity of each community must be preserved and protected, rather than allowing the culture of the majority to extinguish others. But of these, economic fairness has perhaps been the most visible and the most debated. We recognized long ago that without specific state intervention, enormous inequalities would fester among the people. Important point to make. Inequalities intensified along ethnic lines. Certainly is serious. From this recognition came the new economic policy, with its twin objectives of eradicating poverty regardless of race and eliminating the identification of ethnicity with economic function. Our efforts in this regard are now regarded as visionary and far-sighted, as socio-economic disparities widen throughout the world and pose a grave threat to global peace and stability. The country's pursuit of economic fairness continues today. For example, in the approach of corridor development, the efforts to spread development more consistently beyond the Klang Valley is underlined by the same basic principles, which are to eradicate poverty and to provide people with the opportunity, quality opportunity, to better their lives through employment, business, and education. These efforts must reach everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, our pursuit of economic fairness is not without its lessons. For example, in implementing poverty eradication programs, regardless of race, care must be taken to follow through word with deed. No family, no matter of their racial origin, can be allowed to live below the poverty line. And in implementing affirmative action, the principle of fairness must be upheld in all senses of the word. Do not believe that any Malaysian is against helping underprivileged groups, but people want to see opportunity followed by hard work, not short circuits or rents. People also want opportunities to be given to those most in need. Moving forward, as we refine and sharpen these policies, this quality of fairness must be seen to prevail. And it must prevail certainly in efforts in dealing with issues of poverty, issues of education, and issues of income. It must be irrespective of race in the way we deal with these issues. Secondly, I see the emphasis of responsibility, particularly to each other, as an integral value of the nation. In this age of relative affluence and stability, we sometimes forget that there are many groups within the country, each with their own set of demands, each with their own set of sensitivities. These differences are very real, yet we do not descend into sheer unmitigated chaos. Why? Because I think there are enough of us who do not forget, who know and remember our complexity. Those who do not forget understand that our situation demands balance, conscientiousness, a sense of accountability to the whole, a sense of accountability to the whole rather than to the few. All public shows of expression, the value and the burden of responsibility must lie with the ordinary people, not just with those who manage the country. If the choice is between public safety and public freedoms, I do not hesitate to say here that public safety will always win. I will not sacrifice my sense of accountability to the greater public, especially in the face of police intelligence about planned fighting or other violent intent. We must never ever take our peace for granted. We must continue to be responsible to each other. Ladies and gentlemen, the third value I see guiding our efforts all these years, especially in our darkest days, is self-belief. Many of the doctrines and measures that we have undertaken fly in the face of popular thinking, from the NEP in the year 1970 to capital controls during the Asian financial crisis. We held fast. We held fast through massive criticisms and doubt, and this trust in ourselves has paid off. On the international stage, we consistently punch above our weight, from speaking up for developing countries to hosting international events to chairing international groupings. Deep down, we know that Malaysia boleh. We know that we have a lot to offer despite our youth and our size. We know that we are more than able to lead. Ladies and gentlemen, for us and our children, the sense of self-belief is crucial as we step into a time of greater competition, global economic change, and high commodity prices. The requirements for survival, success evolve through the ages, but it is now evolving very rapidly. Make no mistake, it will be a challenging time for us, for all of us. We not only need to cope and adjust, we must triumph over the changes required of us, but with faith and determination, we will continue to prevail. If we stay committed to us giving our best, if we hold ourselves to the highest standards of excellence, we will succeed. This is why I believe very strongly that priority must be given to the development of the human capital. Ladies and gentlemen, fairness, responsibility, self-belief, these values are embodied in the country's policies and achievements throughout the last 50 years, and I believe it's time and experience that will characterize us as a people. For these are values that guarantee sustained unity and continued progress. I see these similar values I have ingrained in these similar values in the 10 principles of Islam Hadari that I have been promoting not only in Malaysia, but elsewhere in other parts of the world. These are common values that Malaysians can hold on to without fear that they will face any kind of confrontation, without fear that their religion, their belief in religion might be eroded. Universal values are universal values. These universal values are values that we own, are values that we cherish. These are values that we want for ourselves and our families, not only as citizens of Malaysia, but also as human beings. Of course, these matters are far from settled. The question to find what we stand for is the work of many generations, but in the final analysis, we can agree on one thing, that we love this blessed land of ours. We love its diversity and its eccentricities. This is the only country we have, the only place where we feel truly at home, and we want it to succeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us begin with fairness, with responsibility and self-belief. Let us understand and appreciate the meaning of these values and start upholding them together. Everyone, leaders, political parties, companies, NGOs, people from all walks of life, let us start building our hearts and minds as we enter into our next 50 years as a nation. This is a long-term project for Malaysia's future, for which we truly pray for success, for God's blessing and protection.